Hello and welcome to SDI FTE 211-2011, week 7. So, we've got a 4-part assignment. The first part's kind of actually really like a 5-part by itself talking head. It's particularly on 1911 trigger fitments and bits. I do apologize, I have my lesson script over here. We do have some specific stuff to talk about, so without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the 1911. I've already taken and disassembled mine again. You have trigger and trigger fitment, so this is a little different. So necessary trigger work that should be done. As far as the frame goes, we've kind of did a lot of it last bit, which is the trigger track. That does need some polishing there in order to smooth out the trigger. Only so much of that needs to be done. Only so much of that needs to be done. And that's something that can be overdone, because if you have too loose of a trigger, you're now going to have a trigger get a little bit of slack and wobble. Rather than moving straight back and forth on a good even track, on a good even track, it's actually going to do this number as it wobbles on through, and that's not good juju. Another bit of trigger work you can do yourself is to polish the sides. If you're going to do that, don't recommend freehanding it like in the last video. You want a stirrup guide, which basically just sits up here. It's a little blocking device. And that goes into the last part of specific tools, although there's something more specific we're going to talk about in a second. Again, you don't really have to do a whole lot on this. Part of the issue with this is if it's a blued finish versus a stainless steel trigger, sometimes the bluing or the enamel finish in many cases can cause some binding and interference. Now the fire control group as a whole, it's a little different. This is your spring, your main spring, which includes your sear, your trigger, and your safety spring. You can polish this to a tad bit. I've never felt the need for it, but you can also adjust the tension that this holds. Word of caution, you can really mess up your firearm, because right now this provides the right amount of tension against the trigger shoe as it pushes. This is what keeps your sear and its tension there. If you have too much slackness on this, you can either have basically a dead pistol where you can pull the trigger and nothing happens. Worse, you can have a firearm that, how do I put it politely, can run away from you, or just detonate in the holster. Looking at you, certain manufacturer, well, no, we're not going down those lines. There are a couple other things as far as the fire control group that you can do some trigger work on too. And again, it's a question of need to and not to. Your sear and your sear disconnect and how it fits in here. This can use, it needs to be nice and loose, but not so loose that it's just going to come apart in your firearm. When it sits up there and it's in its shoe, generally speaking, it's not much of a problem. Where you need specific angles, mostly is right here on the sear. And we really touched on it pretty solid on the last one, but we're going to go through it again here. The sear angle right here, private disconnector, and then of course your two capture prongs, your forks, those cannot be altered. Those angles have to stay true. If they do not, and I have seen it personally, this right here, this is where you can take up those 1/4 of a pound, 1/8 of a pound pulls, 1/2 pound pulls. It can all be done with the sear adjustment. If you change your angle too far, you've now created a runaway firearm. And that's something that can kill you. Runaway is where you pull the trigger once, and even though you let go, it keeps firing because the internal mechanism has malfunctioned. It keeps slipping. And with a 45 ACP or 10 mil especially, larger caliber pistols, you're going to end up shooting, if you have a full magazine, 8 to 10 rounds, you're going to be shooting the ceiling. You know, if you're lucky and it happens to you outdoors, You're less likely to have damage to those around you. I'm sure the trees would disagree, but it's safer than everything else. So, yeah, and that's where you come into specialty tools. This is a Brownell's sear jig. It's actually a sear and hammer jig. The hammer is the other part with angles, and we'll talk about that in just a second. This does them both. Currently, I don't know if you can see on the screen or not, it's $105 plus the usual shipping and taxes. This is one of the best specialty tools for 1911 you could ever buy. Never mind just the polishing stones and all the other stuff is there. And it also helps hold your trigger in, because again, you have very specific angles that you have to maintain. You can polish this a lot, basically get a smoother contact. The keywords again, polish, not file. If you remove too much material, you only remove thousandths of an inch, guys, thousandths of an inch. You know, that's all you need is, again, is just to make the surfaces not even less tension or more slippery. It's just to provide a nice, good, smooth action as that trigger is pulled and released. It's just nice and smooth. It's buttery, because otherwise it can go. And again, we have runaway, we have negligent discharge or unintended discharge. You have all kinds of damage there. All right, hey guys, we're back. So next part of this one is deburring. I'm trying to get it where you can see it here, guys. I do apologize. The trigger track in here, we've actually already done a lot of this because we polished the trigger track last bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and show it to you here again for the instruction purposes. Hoping you guys can get in there and get to see. You have two tracks, one on either side of the mag weld. This is a 1911 trigger track stone. This is provided by SDI. You're gonna go in here and you're gonna go forward right up until you hit where the pistol curves in, and you're just gonna do a back and forth motion. If for whatever reason you have actual burrs in here, and then most 1911s you shouldn't. Most modern 1911s are fairly well manufactured. If you do have actual burrs, you can do a small flat file to just remove the burrs, but just the burrs. Do not try to polish this with that file, or you can do some serious damage. I mean it. Use the trigger track stone, get in here, get your polishing done, and that'll remove most of those problems. All right. Hey guys, we're back. We've already got it reassembled. We need to go do a drop test and do a function test on it. Went ahead and just got in the vise. Let's go ahead and get the drop test done on it. It's moving and the device is just holding it to keep it from falling. That's it. All right, let's go and do a full function test here. Again, every time you pick up a gun, fully assembled, always double check, visually inspect it. So, function test. Safety on. Nothing happened. Safety off. Nothing happened. Both grip safety in and off. Good. Cycle action. Good. Magazine. Dummy rounds. So you can see them. They are in fact dummy rounds. So, cycle, pick, feed, fire, ejection, feed. Good overall cycle, guys. Last part here. Again, we have the same cleared pistol. So we're going to talk about what alterations would I like to make this 1911. Well, for one, replacing the grip safety with a more classic beaver tail design, replacing the hammer with a skeleton key hammer, probably going to an ambi safety, and honestly adjusting. This has got an A1 beaver tail. It's kind of hard to see right there, but there you go. I'm probably going to take it over to the grinder and drill press with the sand disc and give it a little bit more of a curvature just to take off some of that harshness, eliminate some of that bite. All right, well guys, That's week 7, SDI FTE 2011. Till next week.